Hi there. Different accents. Do they present the biggest challenge for audiobook narrators? Well, they could, but they don't need to. To find out what I mean, stick with me through this video because I'm going to tell you how you can deliver almost any regional or international accent convincingly. Now, I guess the first question you might ask me is, do I need to bother with accents? If I can't do a lot of them very well, isn't it better not to try? No, I don't think so. Whilst it is true that the issue that seems to prompt listeners to give bad reviews more often than anything else is poor attempts at accents, they are even more likely to give your performance a panning if you make no attempt at all. For example, if a character is described as being a very old man, then surely you are naturally going to want to make him sound like one, rather than a vibrant, energetic teenager, aren't you? So surely it's no different with accents. If a character is described as a French woman, likewise, wouldn't you want her to sound somewhat French, rather than like, for example, she was from the north of England? Think about it. When you're listening to a story, you want to be transported to a different world, right? And accents play a huge role in creating that sense of authenticity. They can evoke a particular time and place and even influence how we perceive characters and their motivations. By delivering even reasonably convincing accents, you can bring your characters to life and add some spice and entertainment to your performance. So, if you need to give delivering accents a go, how do you go about it? The answer is 2 words: research and practice. As far as research goes, these days, with this wonderful online facility called YouTube, you will be amazed at what you can find. Recently, I was narrating a book. It's a military thriller called Grey Resurrection, by the way, written by top author Alan McDermott and highly recommended, that had several Filipino characters in it. And I had no idea what a Filipino accent sounded like. So I looked it up. Okay, well, here I am in YouTube, and having entered Filipino accent in English in the search field, and as you can see, a lot of potential videos have popped up. There's a stand-up comedian here called Ron Jossol, who is probably worth a listen, I would think. And a few people have released some video shorts, all worth a quick check, I would think. And this guy up here, Mikey Bustos. Now, this is a video I latched onto when I was doing my research, and he is very funny and very informative. So thank you, Mikey. Your video helped me a great deal. For example, he revealed that there are no F sounds in the Filipino accent. They use a P instead, so it is pronounced Filipino. Nor are there any V sounds. They are pronounced as a B. So I would say that I have a very interesting video. Yes, really. The accent is actually a mix of Far Eastern and Spanish, because back in the 1500s the Philippines was occupied by the Spanish, and even today many Filipinos have Spanish names, like Mikey Bustos. And according to Mikey, there are apparently 170 dialects in the Philippines, so that probably means that there are 170 slightly varied accents. So that gives you a bit of artistic license with this particular accent at least, and it's probably the same with quite a few others. Okay, so once you have listened to several examples and listened to them a few times, start practicing the principles of the accent, and keep practicing it until you get it to what you believe is an acceptable standard. Exercises are also super helpful in building muscle memory and getting comfortable with an accent. For example, you could try some tongue twisters speaking in front of a mirror, or recording yourself and listening back to identify areas for improvement. You can also practice with scripts, either from audiobooks or plays or newspaper and magazine articles. to get used to speaking in an accent for extended periods. But obviously only put in this amount of work into your practice if the accent is going to crop up a lot in the book you're going to narrate. If it's a character that only has a couple of lines of dialogue, then by all means do your best with it, but don't spend hours and hours and hours. Practicing it could take you a while, but don't get too hung up about making it sound perfect. Remember that most people listening to your audiobook won't have much idea of what the accent should sound like, so they are hardly likely to question it. And if, using this example, any Filipinos are listening, the vast majority will accept your efforts for what they are. Not perfect perhaps, but a decent attempt. You might be surprised that once you latch on to what sounds to you like an acceptable and reasonably authentic accent, it will tend to stick and you'll easily get into the swing of it. What might have seemed difficult at first will quickly get easier. My advice though is don't overcook it. Unless you're narrating a book that is a comedy, you don't want your attempt to sound exaggerated, a caricature, ridiculous even. That will rightly earn some criticism. My opinion is that narrators who are uneasy about delivering accents often approach accent work with the wrong mindset. It's not just about mimicking the sound of a particular accent, it's also about understanding the cultural context behind it. We might assume that an accent is just about the way someone pronounces their words, but it's also to do with the rhythm, intonation and cadence that comes with it. Your research and your practice will help you to develop these. You need to avoid the misconception that accent work is only about putting on a different voice, when, as it is with all the characters in an audiobook, it's very much about understanding a character's personality, motivations and distinctiveness. Those things still need to come out in the voice with any character you portray, whether they are the same nationality as you or from the other side of the world. Okay, so that Filipino accent. The character in the book Grey Resurrection is a terrorist who has taken Tom Gray as a hostage, so he's not the friendliest guy on the planet. And he is motivated by his cause and potentially aggressive with it. Here's a short clip.
He hadn't drunk water in hours and knew from his jungle training days in the regiment that dehydration was his most dangerous enemy right now. Unless he got that under control, he would be in no fit state to walk much further, never mind find a way to escape. "I need a drink," he shouted to Leader, who immediately came over and clamped a hand over his mouth.
"Keep your voice down. The sandalas are everywhere."
Grant waited until the sweaty palm had been removed, then asked what sandalos were, a lot more quietly.
"They are the armed forces of the Philippines. They want to deny us our right to an independent Muslim state."
Grant was encouraged by the fact that they were surrounded by the army, and it showed on his face. But his hopes were soon dashed.
"They are incompetent, but even an idiot with a gun can be dangerous. They don't care who they shoot at, as long as they fire in our general direction. Sometimes they hit us, sometimes our hostages. I don't think you should look at them as your saviors. They are more likely to kill you than rescue you."
So, in conclusion, delivering convincing accents for audiobook narration is all about dedication, practice, and a willingness to learn, explore, and take risks. By focusing on the cultural context, the nuances of language and the intention behind the words, you can deliver accents that feel authentic, engaging, and immersive. And remember to take account of the personality, emotions, and motives of the character as you would any other character whose voice you are narrating. And don't forget that just in the same way that no two UK accents or USA accents are the same, there isn't a typical textbook accent for any other nationality or region either. So you don't have to strive for the so-called perfect foreign accent, because who is to say what that sounds like? Okay, so what's your favourite accent to listen to or try to master? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more voice acting techniques, be sure to check out my other videos on the topic. So thanks for watching today, and see me again soon. Bye for now.